Hey guys, you are listening to the Prosta English podcast, the podcast created for English learners. You can turn on episodes anywhere, at home, while cooking, cleaning, and having a walk, and this way you will passively improve your listening skills. If you don't understand some words from my audios, I have good news for you. I created files with texts from each episode. You can open these files and follow the text while listening to the audios. In this case, you will understand 100% of what I'm saying and also learn a lot of cool words and phrases that I use in my podcast. I'll leave the details about how to get the files under this episode, so if you're interested, you can check it out. But for now, let's get started. To be honest, the idea for this episode didn't come from me, but from my students. In our B1 course, in addition to grammar classes and speaking clubs, we have an event called TED Talks. It's a class where students have a chance to present a topic they are interested in. We've had many great presentations like how to save the environment, how to develop creativity, how to become more focused and concentrated, and how to manage your time. And one of the topics chosen by Lisa and Julia was called expectations versus reality of being an adult. I really loved this topic. It was so cheerful and funny, and I immediately decided to choose it for my next podcast episode and discuss it with you guys. So, girls, once again, thank you so much for your inspiration and ideas. I'm really excited to discuss it with my listeners. I remember when I was a child, I really wanted to grow up and become an adult as soon as possible. First, I hated going to school. I started first grade at the age of 5, and I turned 6 only on the 15th of September. All of my classmates were half a year, or even a year and a half older than me. And in childhood, that's a huge difference. All my classmates seemed much smarter and much more focused than me. It was difficult for me to understand and process new information, and that's why I hated school. So, this was the first reason why I wanted to grow up faster and escape from that place. Reason number two, when I was a teenager, my mom was very strict. For example, all my peers and classmates could stay outside until 10 p.m. But I had to come back home at 9 p.m. If I came back 10 minutes past 9, my mom would shout at me, saying that I should have managed my time better. So, this was the second reason I wanted to become an adult, to decide when I want to come back home, who I want to spend time with, and where I want to go. Reason number three why adulthood seemed more attractive than childhood was money. I saw that my parents had their own money. They could buy anything they wanted and save up for things they liked, while I only got my pocket money for school lunch. Okay, sometimes I asked my granddad for money, but I wasn't always brave enough to ask, so it didn't happen regularly. And the third way to get money was to wait for my birthday, but that was also unpredictable. Sometimes I would get gifts from relatives, not always money. So I wanted to grow up faster, work, have my own budget to be able to decide how I spend it. One more common expectation that kids usually have about adulthood is that when they grow up, they can eat an unlimited amount of sweets like candies, chocolate, cakes, cookies, and so on. In childhood, many kids have a sweet tooth, but they often hear from adults things like, enough is enough, you can't eat so many sweets, you'll get bad teeth, we are not going to buy you these candies, and so on. So when we grow up, we imagine that we will buy piles of our favorite snacks and binge eat them. But does this expectation match reality? Nope, not at all. When we grow up, we become those boring and responsible adults who understand the consequences. If I eat too many candies, I'll have to go to the dentist. And on the one hand, it's extremely painful. And on the other hand, it's very expensive. It costs an arm and a leg. If I eat too many cakes, I will gain weight. And then I'll hate myself in a swimsuit. I'll not be able to look at my reflection in the mirror, and I'll have to work too hard at the gym. And if I drink too many fizzy drinks like juice, Coke, and Sprite, and so on, I might later have skin problems. I could get allergies and feel drained. Again, I'll spend a fortune on doctors, treatments, pills, and cosmetics, and in the end, it simply will not be worth it. So, in most cases, this dream stays just a dream. Of course, we can eat unlimited amounts of sweets and drink liters of sugary drinks, but we consider the consequences, and in most cases, we choose not to. Nowadays, healthy nutrition is a major trend. More and more people are learning how to choose healthy products in stores, for example, foods that are full of vitamins and nutrients. They also learn how to cook healthy meals at home with the help of air fryers, multi cookers, and steamers. Fortunately, now we have a much better understanding that healthy food can also be delicious. We know that if we invest in good groceries and eat enough fiber, protein, and healthy carbs, our bodies will thank us in the future. We will feel more energetic, live longer, and stay strong. The next common idea that kids have about adulthood sounds like this: when I grow up, I will go to sleep whenever I want. Many children and teens want to stay up late to watch cartoons, play computer games, scroll TikTok, and so on. And adults always say, you must go to sleep now. They take away phones or make you switch off the computer. And it's so annoying when someone tells you what to do all the time. Usually, when we become teens, well, I mean young adults around 18, 19, or 20, we might sleep only 3 or 4 hours a day. We may party all night and go to university in the morning. We might study until 4 a.m. and then come to an exam at 8. And it doesn't feel like a big deal to lack sleep. The most important is to have fun and enjoy life. But in reality, when we become adults, we understand the importance of sleep. I personally usually go to sleep at 11 p.m., and if I fall asleep after midnight, that's it. The next day, I'm wasted. I'll feel drained, have no energy, and lack concentration. I don't know about you guys, but I clearly remember how much I hated PE classes at school. PE stands for physical education classes. We had to jump, run, do squats, and play different games. I thought that when I grew up, I would never do sports. I didn't like sweating, feeling tired, or having sore muscles. But in reality, when I grew up, I fell in love with sports. At first, sport helped me slim down quite quickly. I used to be a pretty chubby teenager. I was insecure about my weight. So one summer, I started jogging. At first, it was like 500 meters, then 1 kilometer, then two, then five. And by the end of the summer, I could easily run 7 or even 8 kilometers in one training session. It helped me lose extra kilos that had been stopping me from enjoying my body and, as the result, my life. Another part of my life that I changed my attitude toward when I grew up was dancing. When I was a school student, I went to a dance school for 7 years. The first year was really great. I had a modern and inspiring teacher. She taught us contemporary dances, we had beautiful costumes, and even performed at different concerts and felt like little stars. But then our teacher was replaced. The new teacher, even though she was much younger than the first one, gave us very strange, boring, and uninspiring dances. I really wanted to drop out of those classes. But back then, we didn't have many alternative schools in my city. And my mom believed that if you start something, you need to finish it. So I spent 6 years going to classes that I didn't enjoy at all. And I even got a diploma. And if I want, I could work as a dance teacher. But back then, I promised myself that I would never dance again. And I didn't. But a few years ago in Gdańsk, I started going to dance classes again, and I realized that it's something I truly enjoy. Maybe one day, when I get tired of teaching English and living a sedentary lifestyle, I could become a dance coach. Who knows? Because when I dance, I feel myself changing. I almost become a different person. My mood lifts and warmth spreads through my body, filling me with happiness and excitement. And in my case, the problem was not dancing itself, but the teacher, the music, and the style of dance. When I finally found what truly suits me, I fell in love with it completely. Another funny and unusual expectation I had about adulthood was that I would marry my uncle. Let me explain. When I was in kindergarten, I was in love with my dad's brother. At that time, he was in his 20s. He looked handsome, he was tall, and he had already been to the USA and worked there for 3 months. And he loved me very much too. I shared a funny story about the presents he brought me from the USA in the episode 62 of the podcast. So if you haven't listened to it, you can go back and check it out later. So, yes, I was in love with my uncle, and I wished time could stop so I could grow up while he stayed the same age, and one day we would get married. As you can guess, that didn't happen, and it's probably for the best. When I was a teenager, I really wanted to listen to my music in the car. But usually my dad would say, the driver chooses the music. And he would turn on his songs without even letting me skip to the next one. And I used to think, finally, when I grow up, I will listen to my playlists in the car and I will make my own rules. To be honest, driving never really attracted me. I know some girls who are into speed and driving experience. They even enjoy driving manual cars. But for me, it was extremely difficult to learn how to drive. I passed my driving test only on the fifth or sixth attempt, and then for many years, I didn't drive at all, and of course, I lost my skills. When we moved to Poland, my husband bought a manual car. Oh my God. You can't imagine how many times we argued while I was learning to drive almost from the beginning again. I hated everything back then, my husband, my car, myself, and even the roads in Gdańsk. Now I can say that I drive pretty well. I'm confident driving a manual car, and I'm really proud of that. But at the same time, I still wouldn't say it's my hobby. Maybe it's because I don't drive very often. My husband drives to work every day, and I only go to the gym, which is a 5-minute drive one way. So I don't really have enough practice to feel fully relaxed behind the wheel. So in reality, my husband mostly drives, and we listen to his music. And in those rare moments when I take the car alone, I can finally listen to my own music. But even then, it's not that enjoyable because I don't play it loud. I need to stay focused on the road. And in the end, I can say that my expectation partly came true, but still not 100%. I often hear many adults complain about their lives and say that they want to be kids again. They are annoyed by the amount of responsibilities, endless tasks, and commitments. They don't like dealing with problems on their own, having so little freedom, or always thinking about money, and so on. At the same time, I can say that being an adult for me is 100, 1000, 1,000,000% better than being a child. Yes, when you're a child, you have fewer problems, and they are mostly funny ones, like how to get good grades at school, how to convince your parents to buy you a kitten or a puppy, or how to spend as much time outside as possible. But being an adult has so many more pros. You can choose the people you want to communicate with. If you don't like someone or they are annoying, you can avoid them. You can decide what you want to do. Choose your job, colleagues, and projects. You can choose hobbies that you actually like, not the ones your parents told you to attend. You can read any books you are interested in, not only the ones from your school reading list. You don't need to do your homework anymore. I mean, as adults, we often have other tasks like cooking, cleaning, taking care of kids, or studying English. But for me, it's still much better than boring school homework. Yeah, and you decide what languages you want to learn, and you know why you need them. In most cases, you are motivated to study because you understand that it will influence your future and open new opportunities. When you are an adult, you can earn money and decide what to spend it on, like trips, festivals, adventures, wedding, car, houses, and so on. Don't get me wrong, I love thinking about my childhood. I was surrounded by true, genuine, and unconditional love. I had a full family. I had all my grandparents. I spent a lot of time with them and I traveled a lot with my parents. But nothing can beat this feeling of freedom and responsibility that is now in my own hands for my own life. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode. I'd love to hear what you think about this topic. So feel free to send me a message on Instagram or Telegram and share your thoughts and stories. You really make me happy when you send me a few lines. It helps me feel like I'm not talking to myself, but to real people. And I'm always curious where you listen to the podcast. Like, what places are you in? What emotions it brings up, and so on. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from you. That's it for today, guys. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Keep in touch. Bye bye.